The Platform is a psychological thriller about a prison where inmates are stacked in vertical cells, and every day, a platform filled with food starts at the top and slowly moves down floor by floor. There are 333 levels to the prison. The people at the top eat well, and by the time the platform gets to the bottom, it's completely empty. Every month, everyone gets reassigned to a new floor, completely at random. You could go from floor 6 to floor 250 overnight. The movie's disturbing, but it also has great economic metaphors. The first concept that jumps out is scarcity. There's one platform of food, and it has to serve everyone in the building. The people at the top take way more than they need just because they can, and that leaves nothing for anyone below. The movie shows how people behave when resources are super limited. They resort to fighting, hoarding, and even turning violent. Scarcity makes people panic, and it sets up a brutal chain reaction where no one trusts anyone and everyone's trying to survive. Next, there's opportunity cost, which is introduced in an interesting way. Everyone in the prison is allowed to bring one item. Goring, the main character, brings a book, which is great if you're looking for entertainment, but not so great when you're starving or getting beaten up. Other people bring knives, money, or even pets. One woman brings her dog, which ends up dying. These choices show that every decision has a cost. If you bring one thing, you give up everything else. And sometimes you don't realize how bad that trade-off is until it's too late. The movie also has a lot of incentives. Since floors change monthly, there's no reason for people to cooperate. If you're lucky enough to be on a high floor, the natural urge is to eat as much as possible while you can because you might be on the bottom floor next month. The system basically encourages you to be selfish. Later in the movie, Goring and another character try to change the system. They ride the platform down, threatening people with violence to force them to only take what they need. That fear of losing food altogether is the only thing that gets people to act rationally. Incentives don't always have to be rewards, sometimes they're threats. Income inequality is a huge point of the movie. The people at the top have an unlimited buffet. The people at the bottom starve, and it's completely random who ends up where. It's a pretty clear metaphor for the real world, where some people are born into privilege while others have nothing, and there's no fairness built into the system. Even when someone tries to make things more equal, it barely works. People with power don't want to give it up, and people without power are too desperate to think long term. That imbalance just continues. And finally, the whole system is a perfect example of the tragedy of the commons. The food platform is a shared resource, but there's no rules or regulations, and nobody enforcing anything. So everyone only acts in their own interest, and the resources get destroyed before it can be used by everybody. If everyone only took what they needed, it would be fine. But without structure or communication, the commons gets trashed. It's the same problem we see with things like overfishing, climate change, or leaving trash in a public park, or dirtying public restrooms. When no one feels responsible, everyone loses. So while the platform is disturbing, it also has clear representations of important economic principles. It shows what happens when scarcity, selfish incentives, bad trade-offs, and inequality all combine without any oversight or shared responsibility. In the end, the movie is less about the horror and more about how systems fall apart when no one is willing or able to make them work. Thank you.